Shopify is a global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business and sell more with less effort thanks to the Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/redcircle, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/redcircle now to grow your business no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/redcircle.
What's better than ridiculously soft bedding from Chics? Ridiculously soft bedding with ridiculously big Black Friday savings. Right now at Chics.com, save 30 to 75% site-wide. Take 40% off our top-rated sheets and sleepwear, 50% off all pillows and the Midnight Label collection, and a huge 75% off final sale and our Arctic Air Max Diamond collection. Softer sleep, lower prices. And it all comes with free ground shipping and a 60-night risk-free guarantee. Don't sleep on these savings. Shop the Chics Black Friday sale now at Chics.com.
When people see progress and you can, whether that's your photos, whether that's a scan, whether that's, your waist, becoming smaller or clothing, that progress, it sparks something in our brain and it motivates you. And we rely so much on just the scale. Still, so many people give that hunk of metal on the floor so much power. Welcome to the Bomb Life Podcast, where fitness, mindset, and real talk collide. This isn't just about workouts. It's about transforming your body, mind, and life. Get ready for unfiltered conversations, expert advice, and the motivation you need to level up in every way. Hey everyone, welcome to the Bomb Life Podcast. I am Melissa Vogel, your host. Welcome to the show. I cannot wait to dive into this episode today. We have Jason Moore on, and you guys are not going to believe what your cell phones can do for your health journey. Like, what he has come up with and created through Spren is this is a game changer, you guys. Okay, but first, how's everyone doing? We are just wrapping up Thanksgiving. I hope everyone had a really good Thanksgiving break. If you're listening to this in real time, it's November. Things are changing. We have the holidays coming up. I hope everyone is having a wonderful Thanksgiving. If you're listening to this today, it is Thanksgiving. And it's the time of year to start having serious, I don't want to say health talks, but just real discussions around your health. And I know I say that every episode, no matter what time of year it is, but for real, we have December right around the corner. It's starting. The holidays are here and it's starting. And I just want everyone to really take a look at, what are you after right now? Are you looking to maintain? Are you looking to not put on weight? Are you looking to work on you? Maybe you have some downtime. Maybe you're a teacher and you're not in school for the next 3 weeks coming up here, or I don't know, whatever your life looks like. I just want you to take a minute and look at it. And trust me, this all ties into today's episode, but what are you going to be after over, let's say, really the next 8 weeks? And if that is I don't want to just maintain, and I have to bring this up too, just because this is reality. If you don't decide to do anything and you're I don't know, I'm just going to see how it goes, the chances of you putting on weight and getting into even more of a hole and a negative is very real. If you don't stay on top of your muscle and your weight and your strength training and everything, you could go into the negative with that as well. And we're not about going backward, you guys. We're all about moving forward in every area of our life. And I want this to be a holiday season where you kept moving forward and you didn't pack on the pounds. You guys, I think I said this before, maybe a couple weeks ago. I don't know. I can't remember now, but there was one holiday season where I put on 8 pounds. Do you know how much weight that is on a female body? You could drastically see it. That made pants not fit right. And it was after that was one of my moments that I was never again. Never again. And I was just let's just enjoy the holidays. Whatever, I'll get back at it. And I still went to the gym and I still did my things, but I was not intentional. And so I guess my question for you is what are your intentions coming up? And I want you to have a really hard conversation with yourself about what that is. And if you decide I just want to maintain, okay, what work needs to happen for you to just maintain then? truly think about this. And there's no shame and guilt around it. It's just like learning to decide with your health and your fitness. So just wanted to bring that up because today's guest is all about a tool that you can have and use on your cell phone that's going to help you move in the right direction and never feel like you're going backwards again. Today we have Jason Moore on, and he's the founder and CEO of Spren. And he has spent the last decade turning smartphones into powerful tools for tracking body composition with DEXA scan level accuracy. Oh yes, you heard that right. Most of my clients, I'm always like, go find an in-body. It's not the greatest, but it's something. Go find a DEXA scan. Well, those cost a lot of money. DEXA scans can be anywhere between 75, 100, 150, 200, 250. All depends where you live, what kind of scan it is, to get a real accurate reading on like your body fat percentage, your weight, your muscle, all of that. And he has found a way to do this with your smartphone. His work has already impacted over 1 million users, including gold medal winning Olympians. And he's recently raised 11 million to scale up this groundbreaking technology. The company's backers include sports and medical starters like NFL legends, Dr. Patrick Hanaway of the Cleaning Clinic, Gynoid Diagnostics. I mean, you name it. And he has these backers, you guys. This company is so cool. Spren's AI-powered biomarker technology transforms any smartphone into a lab-grade sensor, measuring your body fat, lean mass, resting metabolic rate, your HRV, which is your heart rate variability, and soon even VO2 max without expensive equipment or wearables. The results? Elite level health tracking. It's now accessible to anyone with a phone. Like, I don't know if you guys understand or realize how cool this is. And it doesn't break the bank, you guys. It's not something that you can't afford or you can't do. Jason was motivated by his own struggles to stay fit and witnessing chronic health issues in his family. And Jason combined his passion for fitness with his tech background to develop innovative ways to improve health, you guys. This episode is so good. We dive into it all and what biomarkers are and what this measures and how this came about and how you can use this to move forward and never go backwards again without spending hundreds of dollars every time you need a scan. You can have it right on your phone. It is so amazing. So, okay, go listen to the show. It is so incredible. I'm really excited for you guys to have this and to use it. Also, we have a code. Use the code BOMBLIFE and get this. You're going to get your first month free. I know. So go, get it now. Don't walk, run and get it. Use the code BOMBLIFE and you'll get your first month free of this. It almost seems too good to be true. But when you know what's going on with your body on the inside and the outside, it can project or it can just throw your health journey into a whole new level. And you guys hear me talk about the muscle and fat and all of that. And this is important to bring up too. And we say this in the episode, but I will feel better about myself if I say it. This doesn't replace the work. Okay. This is a great tool in your toolbox, but it doesn't replace the work. You still have to show up for you. You still have to see where you're at. And when you do use this and you do your first scan, and we talk about this in the episode too, so please listen all the way to the end. There is no shame and guilt around it. You got to let go of the shame and guilt around it. Okay. Let that shit go because you have to start somewhere. You have to know where you're at so you know how to move forward. And I know getting on that scale or doing this scan, it's tough. It is tough. It is not easy, but you have the data and then you can see the pink flags before they turn into red flags and then black flags. And it can keep you moving in the right direction. And don't you want to know if something is not working? Don't you want to know if something is working? The answer is yes to both. It is yes to both. Okay, you guys, please rate and review this podcast. Leave 5 stars if you feel appropriate. Write a review. It's always so helpful. You guys are awesome. We can't do this without you. Go to the show notes for all the information too. And the app is called Spren, P-R-E-N. S-P-R-E-N. I don't know if I said that right. S-P-R-E-N, Spren. And go find it today. Use our code BOMBLIFE. All right, everyone, enjoy the show. Hey everyone, welcome to the Bomb Life podcast. Today we have Jason Moore on the show. Jason, welcome.
Thank you, Melissa. Excited to be here.
I'm so stoked to have this conversation with you. I'm just like, I want to just like dive in and ask you all the questions right now. But your app and your company is really, really interesting in what you're doing with our technology. So I'm just like a kid in a candy shop right now.
Yeah, I mean, you're speaking my language. Technology in a candy shop. That's where I'm at as well.
Technology and chocolate. My two favorites. No, Jim Waits is my favorite, and then chocolate.
There
Let's
you
be
go.
real. Okay, so I have to ask first, how did this become the path of your life and what you focus on? Like, how did AI and our smartphones and biomarkers and all this technology become like the thing Jason Moore is doing now?
Yeah, yeah, it's funny because as you asked that, first response that came to my head was like kind of these things that you hear kind of in media sometimes, which was like, I was born dreaming about biomarkers and humanity is, going to go to biomarker land or whatever. But the reality is that growing up, I was an athlete and I, competed basically through high school.
What'd you play?
And soccer.
Oh, you're a soccer dude. Okay.
Yeah, which was like super fun, and I sometimes miss it, but due to injuries and other things, like I ended up evolving away from it to kind of a more holistic approach to health, fitness, well-being,
Yeah,
etc.
I get it.
But like that ended up starting kind of as I stalled out as an athlete, I was working harder and getting worse results, and at the same time, like was starting to develop some health issues, and this was in my early 20s, and then looking around at my friends and family, and for the first time kind of realizing my parents had kind of talked about like dieting and stuff when I was a kid, like for themselves, but it wasn't really like, didn't hit me until I started realizing my friends, my family, like myself, were all kind of struggling with something. And it just wasn't talked about, and it was kind of hard to figure out. And I'm the type of person that likes to go down the rabbit hole deep. So I kind of dove in first, like through fitness, and kind of evolved towards like CrossFit originally, and then towards personal training, and ended up becoming a fitness trainer and personal trainer. And then realizing that exercise was just one part of the whole picture, and very quickly seeing that sleep and stress and nutrition and going outside and having healthy relationships and like all of these things just really compound together. And exercise, of course, very important too. So as I was figuring this out, I was actually then working in the oil industry, like a tech-based job. I was building software, and with that software, we were basically using sensor data and algorithms and things like that to basically predict and maintain the health of equipment in the oil field. So so like by day, that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then nights and weekends, I'm like training people and doing a bunch of research and networking and health and fitness. And I was like, eventually there's some dots started connect for me there. And I was like, well, what things can we measure about the body that gives us a better, compass to follow on like what's working, what's not working? Is something about to break down before it breaks down, right? You don't want to wait till things are broken to fix them ideally.
Right.
But that's hard to do. And so, fast forward a few years, I did turn some personal research into a company, which includes like, recovery and stress and inflammation and a bunch of things that we can get into. And then that really paved the way for a bigger vision of expanding what we are able to measure, getting into machine learning and computer vision and some of these really deep tech topics that now have turned your phone into essentially like a validated health lab where you can measure all this stuff. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
crazy to me too, even though I live it every day.
Right. I mean, we have this technology in our hand. Like, it only makes sense that it could do this too. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and you're doing it. You're figuring out. I mean, you've worked with some pretty big names.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And that's really been, it comes full circle basically, because just like health, like solving the problem from a business perspective takes a very holistic approach. I had to understand deep dives in finance and accounting and operations and learn all these things while also continuing to grow our innovation and figure out how do you package this type of technology to actually make it useful to people. I think it's easy for somebody like me who likes to go down the rabbit hole to get way off into nerdland. And that's been another thing that we've been partnering with a lot of people, like you said, some really big names and amazing brands to like bring it forth to everyone.
Well, because right now, like if you want this information on your body, you got to go somewhere and pay a lot of money. And that's if you're lucky enough to even have something in your area to get like a DEXA scan done or anything. You know,
Right.
a lot of my clients have to travel almost an hour to get one. And then it's like 150, $200, all depends on what they want, what they need. And like, how realistic is that? You know, it's tough. It's tough for a lot of people.
Yeah, and those are the types of problems we love to solve. So you mentioned DEXA. It's an amazing piece of equipment. It's this big X-ray machine that costs like anywhere from $50,000 to $250,000. And like you said, in most major cities in the US, you can go pay $150, 200 or so dollars to do a DEXA scan, which gives you information about your body composition and also bone mineral density, which is how some people get exposed to it. We've been able to take pretty much the majority of that functionality and package it into your phone so that you don't have to pay $150 a scan and you can do it from the convenience of your home. And to your point, like people are going and doing that because the data is so valuable. Like you said, you do it with your clients, et cetera. But we just love kind of breaking down the barriers of access. And we then get blown away by all the things people do with it and all the things they learn when they can now track it, let's say every week instead of once a year.
Yeah. And like you said, preventing the massive like breakdown. Like, and with our health, and I know there's the whole saying, like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Like, and I don't want people to get confused with that because that's not what we're talking about. But like, your body will give you pink flags, red flags before big changes happen. And we are so busy and wrapped up in our life, like, we miss those. So that's what caught my attention when I got approached to have you on. I was like, wait, what? This is like a huge way for people to see those flags and to like create change now. Stop, wake up. It's not just like in your head. Because a lot of time people think like, oh, is it just in my head? Am I not sleeping well? Am I putting on weight? Am I just being mean to myself? And this is a great tool to be like, oh no, it's right here in your face. Like, wake up. And
I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I couldn't have said it better. In fact, I wish I could take that snippet and go back in time and tell myself that because
so many things I tell myself.
That's really kind of what it boils down to is like, it's not about just data for the sake of data. It's not about tracking for the sake of tracking. Like it's about getting those early warning signs. And also it takes a lot of work to, build a healthy, fit, well-being oriented lifestyle.
A lot of work.
And like, I want to know, I like, sometimes I say that I'm lazy, but people kind of roll their eyes because I'm like a CEO and doing all these different things. But I'm like, look, we're all juggling a lot of things. And I want to know the effort that I'm putting in is leading somewhere. Right. And so to me, it's like giving us that positive reinforcement when our work is paying the dividends, but it's hard to see. And when we measure, we can see it earlier.
Yes.
Get more quantified and stay motivated and also see if we're wasting time. Like I don't want to put in a bunch of work and have it not pay off. So
yeah. Oh my God. I'm telling my clients that all the time. Like, we don't want to waste time, but also like progress equals motivation. I think that's a Tony Robbins thing. That's not a Melissa Vogel thing. And, but I use it all the time. So it should become my thing because it's so true. When people see progress and you can, whether that's your photos, whether that's a scan, whether that's, your waist, becoming smaller or clothing, that progress, it sparks something in our brain and it motivates you. And we rely so much on just the scale. Still, so many people give that hunk of metal on the floor so much power. And I have, especially women, and they'll get on there and I'll be like, girl, you just gave a hunk of metal, all of your energy and all of your power for the day because it said that you're up 2 pounds, and now your whole day is ruined. And I'm like, think about that for a minute.
It's crazy, yeah. But it's crazy, but also not, to make, like, I understand the psychology and that's where we hope to. I appreciate you a lot tremendously because of the content of yours that I've digested. I can see how you're connecting those dots for people and saying like, it's like, we're all human, right? And we have emotional reactions to everything. That's just how we are.
Yep.
But it's like finding the right things to pay attention to, right? That's kind of like half the battle.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I don't know. I don't want people either to keep doing the same thing that's not serving them. And I see that a lot, like all the time. And I just had a conversation with someone this morning and she's like doing this body app workout thing. And I'm like, how long have you been doing that for? And she's like, oh, probably like 8 months. Is it working? I'm like, I mean, clearly it's not because we're having a conversation right now on the phone, but it just keeps doing the same thing over and over again. And it's like, it's not working. And we need more tools like this to show us like, hey, you don't have that progress going on right now. Okay. So explain to me like how metabolic tracking, it's like, what is it doing to the weight loss world right now? What is it doing with like your fitness optimization?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically providing this feedback loop where people can, for the first time, answer questions like you were just saying a minute ago, which was like, hey, I tried this thing. Is it working for me? Right? You've gone 8 months into doing this thing and you're still kind of not sure like if it's working, but sometimes you're afraid to not do it because you're like, oh, if I stop, then, things might be even worse or something like that. We really want to give people the data and insights and make it super easy to make those decisions more confidently.
Okay.
And coaches too, like we have this whole platform we've built out that takes things like these body composition scans, which can be a little bit intimidating. Like there's all these metrics that are associated with them, like body fat percentage, obviously muscle mass, those are two that people understand pretty intuitively, right? Like generally we want less fat, generally we want more muscle, but then there's a lot of questions around that, right? Like, well, how much is the right amount, and, will I look bulky if I put on muscle or will I look, lean?
Right.
And of course, you've already educated people on this, and I say it too, like, it's very difficult for people to look bulky by focusing on strength training.
We should say that like even louder for the people in the back.
Yes, exactly. Like you can just ask like any like relatively small man how painful that truth is.
Right.
But in any case, so the feedback loops, so metabolic tracking and the idea of tracking body composition and heart rate variability.
It doesn't say like, what are all the things? Like, what's the list of like all the things that we're looking and tracking?
Right. So think of it like a menu where we're not telling you have to track all the things all the time, right? But I'll list out a bunch of stuff. So body composition is really one of our hottest technologies right now because just, using your phone, you can put it on the floor, step back, scan your body and get essentially like a DEXA scan worth of body composition data. So that includes body fat percentage, lean muscle mass, and then indexes of those, which are kind of normalizing them to your height, which sounds a little technical, but basically you can imagine like taller people tend to have bigger frames or carry more mass,
Absolutely. Yep.
et cetera. It's another reason why scale weight can be kind of misleading for a lot of different body type. So, but body weight as well, you can get that from a scale, but you can include it in the metrics you analyze in our platform. And then there's these other interesting elements of body comp that most people don't necessarily know about, like Android Gynoid ratio. And so it sounds very technical. It is kind of, but it's really a proxy for like hip to waist ratio, right?
Hip to waist ratio. Okay.
Yeah. So if you're thinking about like what's the circumference or the, distance around your waist versus your hips. And generally speaking, for almost everybody, you don't want your waist to be getting larger, relative to your hips. And so that pretty much is universal for everybody, maybe unless you're like a competitive strongman or something like that.
Yeah.
But in any case, Android Gynoid is the way that DEXA kind of scientifically categorizes those metrics. And we just, again, provide that by doing a quick scan with your phone. For most people, and this is, I'll go into the other metrics too, but with body composition, everyone really focuses a lot on body fat percentage. And it's true that changes in your body fat percentage can really visually, make a big impact for you. But really what's most important for health and longevity and like feeling really great is that Android Gynoid ratio, because again, carrying a lot more weight around your midsection, it leads to a lot of negative health outcomes, and it also just doesn't make you feel great. It often has a high correlation with inflammation in your gut and challenges with, overall health and well-being and chronic health conditions. And then the other is lean mass index. And the scientific community calls it fat-free mass index. But again, basically what that is like how much lean tissue you have, like muscle, relative to your height. And so that and Android Gynoid ratio, I think, are the most undervalued metrics because everyone focuses just on body fat percentage. I encourage people to focus on those more, actually.
Interesting.
So those are body composition. Then we integrate with pretty much all the wearables. So you can pull in your activity data, your sleep data.
Oh, cool.
We also have a full-on food logging system in there for people that want to log their food. And it has a whole AI component to it. So you can use like your voice and pictures and things like that to make food logging a lot easier. And then we have our own technologies as well to help people monitor heart rate, HRV, and respiration rate. So these are more like cardiorespiratory markers.
Okay.
And a lot of people, like athletes, are very familiar with tracking those types of metrics over time. But one of the really interesting things that we found is people who start tracking them on a daily basis learn a ton about their bodies and their routines, right? And so routines, obviously, a big one that people are aware of is sleep. So you can track sleep duration, sleep quality through wearables. But if you look at that HRV number, you'll also notice that the quality of your sleep has a big impact on your daily HRV number. And heart rate variability gives you this window into recovery and readiness that maybe people who haven't tracked it for the first time, they realize like, oh, wow, these little things that I do, like if I have a snack right before bed or have alcohol, close to bed or, skip a meal or do all these things that we just do on a daily basis as we're kind of navigating life, you end up seeing the ripple effect in the data long before you see it in your like physique or your,
that's crazy,
energy levels. And so it can give you some of these, again, pink flags, like
pink flags,
saying like, hey, it's not the end of the world. Like any given one day is never going to make or break your whole life. But that's the problem is that mentality combined with the lack of immediate feedback. Leads to then every day becoming, a slip day. And so we're just giving people tools to be aware of when that's starting to happen and helping kind of just course correct before it gets off into the weeds.
That is so cool. Like I really hope people listening understand how cool this is and how much this can help you on your journey. Now, this will never take away like working on like the mindset piece of it and actually picking up and learning how to resistance train, like how to progressive overload that muscle. Like, you still have to do that work. You still have to, journal and learn to love yourself and have confidence and understand your body with your nutrition. But man, when you have tools like this that you can add into your journey and really learn and educate and know your body, and for many people, it's for the first time ever, holy crap, your chances of going backwards again and putting the weight back on and getting stuck in that roller coaster, it like decreases drastically. And I just wish, I say this all the time, like,
what's better than ridiculously soft bedding from Sheik's? Ridiculously soft bedding with ridiculously big Black Friday savings. Right now at Sheik's.com, save 30 to 75% site-wide. Take 40% off our top-rated sheets and sleepwear, 50% off all pillows and the Midnight Label collection, and a huge 75% off final sale and our Arctic Air Max Diamond collection. Softer sleep, lower prices. And it all comes with free ground shipping and a 60-night risk-free guarantee. Don't sleep on these savings. Shop the Sheik's Black Friday sale now at Sheik's.com.
Everyone has this giant toolbox that we carry around. Some is really empty. Some people don't have anything in there. And then others, they have a ton. And I just say, this is another tool to put in your toolbox. This is just another tool. And there isn't one magic tool.
Right.
Now, and that's what people are looking for, Jason. They want the one magic tool. Hey guys, today's episode is brought to you by Simply Greens. I am so excited to share this new favorite daily hack with you guys because it has changed how I feel from the inside out. It is Simply Greens, Simpli Greens gummies. I've been taking them for a few weeks now, and even my kids are on board, and I'm loving how simple they are to get my greens in. No giant smoothies, no mess, no powder, no guesswork, just chew and go. Here's what's inside. Each gummy is loaded with real nutrients from 14 green veggies like spinach, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, plus superfoods like spirulina and chlorella. They're 100% plant derivative, gluten-free, organic, with no cheap fillers or synthetic junk that your body struggles to use. Simply Greens also includes vitamin B12 for energy and metabolism. Yeah, we all need that. Vitamin D3 for bone health, zinc and magnesia for immune support, and so much more. Why gummies? Because consistency is greater than perfection. A gummy is easier to take, it's more enjoyable, and it helps me stick with it. When I feel good, I show up for my workouts, my family, and my life. I've totally noticed better energy, less brain fog, and I feel more grounded. And my kids, yeah, they're getting those same daily nutrients without me nagging them. They go out the door, I hand them their gummies, they take them, they go. And because you're a listener of the Bomb Life podcast, guess what? You get a deal. Use the code BOMBLIFE at checkout and save 25% off your order. You are welcome. Plus, if you spend $35, you get free shipping. If you've ever struggled to eat enough greens or felt overwhelmed by the powders and the shakes, just didn't like the taste, this is the solution. Real greens in a real simple format. Back to the show.
I wish you could take our tool and just inject it into your body and have it do all the work for you.
Right?
And, I think maybe someday humanity will get there. But, you asked earlier, like, what are some of the things people do with these tools? Speaking of injecting things, like, there's this whole rising tide of, semaglutide, GLP-1 antagonists.
Yeah.
And those also don't replace the need to use progressive overload and get adequate protein and like address all of these lifestyle changes. We find really interesting data. One, we collaborate with a lot of like functional medicine and integrative medicine practitioners, and they're often in a position to prescribe these types of drugs because people want it, right? But what a lot of them do is say like, okay, under certain cases, we will use those to maybe get through a sticking point or something, but we're going to heavily track this data and use it to show you that if you just use these drugs and you don't do these other aspects, you're actually losing a lot of muscle, and that can be catastrophic for your metabolism long term, and also just your confidence, your health, and your well-being.
Yeah.
And so we've just seen lots and lots of data showing that, and that when people do certain steps, which, surprise, surprise, are the same steps that you would do even if you weren't using medically assisted, weight loss drugs, is by focusing on progressive overload and by getting adequate protein and making sure that you sleep enough. These types of things give you better results whether you're on drugs or not on drugs. And the data just shows it unequivocally. So that's kind of some of the things that we're excited about illuminating for people.
Yeah.
While also like saving people time and money as well.
For real. Yeah, because people waste a lot of it. And like one of my things that I'm always saying that I do is, because I've been on this journey, I have put on the weight and I have lost the weight. And then I've had to learn the maintaining weight or the maintaining part of the journey of like, once you're there, now you have to learn how to be this person, and good luck even finding a coach to teach you and, guide you through that. But I'm like, I want to cut back on your learning curve. I want what took me 7 years to get here. I want this to take you 2. Mm-hmm. And how do we cut back on that? How do we cut back on the time and the money? And again, adding another tool, into that toolbox. When you were talking, I was like, wouldn't it be cool if one day we had a device and we could see like, oh, I started this GLP-1 or like I started doing, I don't know, whatever. And it showed you the ripple effect, and the pink flags and stuff. But then also it showed you like, oh, you just decreased your life by 8 years.
Oh, yeah. And
like if it went like deeper into it and could tell you.
We're starting to get there. We're actually starting to get there.
Oh my God.
And, biological age and age scores are kind of this thing now that are emerging as a trend. And a lot of times they're based on blood biomarkers right now. So if you have like cholesterol challenges or, inflammation like CRP and metabolic markers like A1C, like these blood biomarkers kind of feed into a biological age score. And it's a great start, but blood biomarkers are also something that you don't measure like, every week. And
Right.
so some people may go years without measuring them, but I recommend people do measure them if they aren't. But in any case, with these measurement tools, since we're breaking down the barriers of access, so where you can do them more often, it actually allows you to calibrate that kind of aging score concept a lot more effectively. And so, basically, there's a reason why, like, the government, for example, focuses on, at the population health level, things like obesity, right? For one, it's very visual, like people can, visually understand it and stuff. But there's a movement right now that may actually change the definition of obesity in the US. And it was previously based on BMI, which body mass index. A lot of people think that's the same as body composition, but it's not. It's really basically your weight relative to your height. So a problem with BMI, and I'll share a personal story about this actually for myself, is as a former athlete and somebody who, as a man, is relatively small on the scale of just like sizes, I've always thought of myself as not fat. Right. And so, but after stalling out in sports and kind of going through like spending a bunch of time at a desk and just eating whatever and being like, oh, I'm relatively small, I'm like fine and like lucky me. Right. And once I started getting into measuring my body composition, actual body composition, not BMI or weight, right, I realized that I was actually categorized as overweight and I was heading towards obesity despite my scale weight being small. And it was because I was basically skinny fat. I was carrying a lot of fat that you couldn't really see too much if I was wearing the right clothes. And it was a shocker to me because I thought of myself as relatively fit. And I will say that the first time anyone measures their body composition, everybody is not super happy with the results. And it's kind of funny as a business, you're like, hey, our magic moment, the first magic moment you get is when you do this scan and it uses all this fancy AI to do the body composition. By the way, very accurately, we benchmark off of DEXA and it's comparable to DEXA in accuracy. But in any case, yeah, it's a little bit of like, oh yeah, I actually kind of knew that I wasn't where I wanted to be, right? So it's not that big of a surprise, but it was a surprise to me and many others, like how far off it can get when you actually look a little deeper. But the amazing thing to me was that I actually only needed to make small changes and then stick with those over a long period of time. And I actually gained scale weight, but lost about 40% of my body fat.
Wow.
Over
That's
the
a
course
lot.
Yeah. And
how long?
2 years. 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Not 6 weeks.
not 6 weeks, no. And it was slow and steady, but I could actually see it in the data, like almost weekly. I could see tiny changes, but I had up weeks and down weeks just like everyone else. But as I was chipping away at it, I could see the changes in the data. And it almost looks like a perfect body recomposition where it's like body fat percentage went from, I was around 24% body fat. At around 150 pounds of weight. And now I hover typically around like 12 to 13% body fat at around 160 pounds of weight. And it's just, I mean, people who knew me then and know me now are like, it's night and day different. But not only that, here's a weird reaction that I wasn't expecting. People actually say that I look slimmer. And I'm carrying 10 extra pounds from what I was back then. And I think it's just because, again, my waist looks slimmer relative to my frame when I'm carrying a healthy amount of lean mass.
Yeah. I can relate because like I'm a broader girl up top. Like, and so when I'm lifting my lats and like building my shoulders and, I get to that physique, like my waist looks tiny,
Yep.
and I'm building my thighs and my glutes and everything. And that changes the look. So I can relate.
Yeah.
And I'm like, actually I can bench my own body weight.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I love the fact that strong is becoming, culturally more accepted.
We're getting there, Jason. We're getting there. And maybe this would kind of be like a good segue into the next part that I want to talk about. With you could help me get this message out, because it's still so hard to get people to see the value of being strong.
Mhm.
And God, I'm just always like, I just want to ask people, like, and I just want to be rude, but I just want to be like, what do you think is happening to your body? Which the scan would tell us. But what do you think is happening to your body when you just get up, you go to work every day, you sit at your desk, you might go for a walk, you eat, go to grocery shop and come home, and there's no like resistance training. There's no like real activity or like stressing your body. Like in your mind, how do you justify not strength training? Like, what do you really think is happening to your body? I would just love to know what people think, because little do they know, they are just shriveling away to nothing. They are getting older faster. And their body, when you're not building up that muscle, or if you're like on a process and like you're decreasing fat, you're going to look like a deflated balloon. You're just going to look like this floppy, which is one of the things that scares me about the GLP-1s. And I'm like, oh my God, yeah, sure, body fat's going down, but like, what's your body going to look like when you're not refilling it? I don't know. I'm like, I could get on a soapbox for hours on that one.
I like the way that you said some of that though, because like let's let the audience share feedback and say like, is this a good way of framing it? I've been hearing recently a good way of saying like, okay, you don't get old and then stop moving. You stop moving and then you get old. Right.
Amen.
And that could be the same like with progressive overload resistance training is what kids naturally do when they're babies and then they start developing. Right. And then like I have two little ones, a 6-year-old and an almost 3-year-old, and all day long they're just pushing their limits of what they can do and just trying to go further and harder and climb higher and jump faster and all this stuff, right? So it's sort of built into us at that age, but then over time we become more efficient. And so efficient, that sounds good, right? Like it's better to be efficient, but the problem with efficiency is that it causes deterioration because you're basically shedding the things you don't use, right? So we become very efficient at sitting all day. We become very efficient at like staring only 1 foot away from us at a screen, right? And which affects your eye health and, all sorts of other stuff. And so there's many reasons, and it sounds very counterintuitive, to just expose ourselves to things that are not quote unquote efficient. And I don't want to take that analogy too far, because like if I go into the gym, I may only have 30 minutes to an hour. I want to be efficient with my time in the gym. Right. So it doesn't mean like waste time for no reason or anything like that. But it means that, challenging your body is doing movements that if you took like a caveman or a farmer or something like this and you brought them to a gym, they would be like, why are these people just picking these heavy things up and putting them back down? You're like, it's insanity, right? But it's because they are doing that all day, every day. It's a bit of a romantic story because I wasn't there, but basically throughout evolution and time, we have been very physically active.
Yes.
And in our modern world, it's very easy to not be. And I'll be honest, like there's days when I get busy. I've been working in this industry for, 15 years. And there's days when I look at my watch and I'm like, oh, geez, I'm at like 1,000 steps and it's like 3 p.m. or something.
Oh, yeah.
And it just happens to all of us. But I get that feedback and I'm like, okay, I'm either going to decide today is a sacrificial day because I really have some really big deadline I need to hit or something, and I'm not going to beat myself up over that. Or I'm just going to say, look, whatever I'm doing can wait 10 minutes. I'm just going to go outside and walk around the block real quick. And I know that if I do that through practice and feedback, that I will feel a lot better.
Yeah.
And, it's tricky. I used to be like very critical of people who didn't do the things. I'd be like, here, let me tell you, here are the things you need to do. And then people would be like, okay, sounds good. And then not do it. And over time, I've come to realize, like, especially with having young children at home, there's a lot of compromise that needs to be made. And again, comes full circle to the beauty of having a gym and having such amazing tools like gym equipment slash, a DEXA scan in your phone is that, most people can afford to get access to a gym. Most people most people have a phone. If you're listening to this, I'm sure you have a phone.
Exactly.
And so you can use that phone and use that gym just in a slightly different way, a few times a week, and it can actually compound to some amazing results if you stick with it. And we really want to show the progress. It comes back to, like you said, with Tony Robbins, the power of sayings from people like Tony Robbins is they can be everyone's sayings. Right?
I know.
They can be Melissa's, they can be Jason's, and anyone listening.
Yeah. I just have to add this in too, because like we have our phone in our hand all the time. Like I hate it. I get it off my body as often as I can, but it's a tool in our life. Like we don't leave and go without it anymore. And we can use that on our journey too, because there's so many times that we just think I just need to start eating better, or I just need a workout plan, and that's going to be the fix. And you had said this early on in our conversation about like connecting the dots and how you started connecting the dots, that like so many other components need to come together to help you be successful and to not go backwards again. Your relationships, your environment, your rest, your recovery, yes, your weight training, yes, your nutrition and everything. And all those things have to come together. And again, I just have to say, I love that this tool can show you when you are off and you're not balanced. And because your screwed up relationship or, energy suckers in your life, whatever, that's going to show up in your rest. That's going to show up in your sleep. And again, this is something that it's right there. You have it all the time. It's not like something that's going to get dusty in your closet. Right. I got to find that phone. Like it can be there if you want it to be. It can be a daily reminder for you and to see where in my life am I off and then bring it back together.
100%. Yeah. And we've tried really hard to position it not as like a slap on the wrist either. Right. So I think there's no shame in being busy and overwhelmed. Right. Like that's actually pretty status quo now in 2025 for a lot of people. And in many ways, life is more comfortable and easier than ever before. But it's also more demanding and like isolating and like a lot of shaming out there as well. And these are intended to be tools that help you with self-awareness and help you have a conversation with yourself, really. And to just say like, right in this moment, I'm never going to be perfect, but right in this moment, what's a little thing that I can do, right? Or maybe the little thing is like, just go to bed a little earlier and try to do something tomorrow, right?
Yep.
Sometimes it's not doing something like watching 3 more episodes.
Right. Yeah. No, and I'm so glad that you said that, because it can't be a slap in the wrist. And I tell my clients, when I have new clients all the time, like the hardest thing that you're going to do is take those first before photos and get an idea of what's going on in your body and seeing where these numbers are at. And they're right. And it's so hard. And there's so much guilt and shame, like combining words with my brain. There's so much shame that comes in those moments. But I'm like, you have to know where you're starting from. You have to see it. You have to face it, because what got you here is shoving it under the rug and pretending it doesn't exist. Just buying bigger pants.
Right.
Just accommodating to the life that you have that you're not happy with. That has caused us problems. And now we do have to look at it and just accept it. It's just data. This is what I tell my clients all the time. Those listening right now, they're going, there she goes on the data thing. Like, it's just data. And we need to collect the data. It's not who you are. It doesn't define you, and we have to make sure that that data doesn't seep into our feelings and our emotions. We need to keep them separate. Data tells us facts. Feelings and emotions are a whole other ballgame. Wow.
Totally. And I'd be curious of your feedback on this. I sometimes want to say like, hey, look, imagine yourself a year from now or whatever time horizon you want, but sometime like a little further out, right? Where are you going to be? What are you going to be doing? What do you want to look like? What do you want to feel like? Kind of really picture it, and then do a measurement right now, basically, and get that baseline. And then a year from now, if you do nothing else between now and then, do another baseline measurement and see if the vision that you had today is played out, right? And so I don't want to be a downer or whatever, but for most people it doesn't. And it's not I'm not judging anyone. There's no shame in that. That's actually just the norm. And we tend to be pretty optimistic about our long-term capabilities. And then we go to a dark place when we kind of confront the fact that it's probably not going to happen. And I say it that way, and this is where I'm looking for feedback, not because it can't happen, right? And it's actually not maybe as big of a thing as it sounds. It's not like you have to change your entire life. Over time, if you look at somebody who's gone on a transformation journey and you compare their life on day one, and then you compare their life on day, whatever, 500, it looks like they've transformed their entire life and everything about it has changed. But what gets missed is over that 500 days, which was like over a year, right? It's like, a year and a half or something like that. Don't quote me on that. But it was very slow. And actually, there was a lot of ups and downs along the way. And the reason why it looks like they changed their whole life is not because they decided at the beginning, I'm suddenly going to, walk everywhere instead of taking the elevator or escalator. I'm suddenly going to, go to bed on time every day. I'm never going to watch Netflix again. I'm, going to do all these things. It was just that as they felt better and made progress, they actually decided, and here's another thing that I don't need. And you start peeling off these things that right now feel like comforts that are part of your identity. And you eventually realize you don't actually need a lot of those things, but no one's going to rip them all away from you right at the beginning. No. You actually just choose to do that yourself as you peel back the onion.
Yeah. Well, you start to see your worthiness. You start to see and like how you value yourself. And might be a silly example, but you're like, I'm too good for pizza. We're like, I'm actually too good to sit around and drink tonight because how's that going to serve me for tomorrow? And then it's going to affect my Saturday and my Sunday. And, you start to really value yourself in a different way. And like you said, I agree. There's that natural like shutting of it. Like, I don't need that. Why was I even doing that? Right. I have a new client right now and she's realizing how much time she was on her phone. She's like, I've literally replaced my scrolling hours because she was watching that. This is how much time I was on social media. She's like, I've literally replaced it with working out now.
Amazing. Night and day difference.
Yeah, that's the amount of time I was on. And now this is the amount of time I'm working out every day, and I didn't take that away from her. I didn't take away social media or be like, you can't be on it. If you're going to be on this journey, we're going to take this away. She shut it herself. You're spot on, Jason.
Well, good. Thank you. I'm glad I'm not off in crazy land because,
Well, we are. We are in crazy land. I mean, we're not like everyone else out there, but it's okay. I'm okay. And my doors to crazy land are wide open for other people to join.
Well, that is actually one of the last points is I get to spend a lot of time on data and technology. And one of the other things that I think is important to say is like, if you can like find your people, basically, right? Because, and they may not look like what it looks like if you're watching somebody on YouTube, right? Like you don't have to necessarily want to hang out with Melissa or Jason 24/7 to get value out of our content and our experience and knowledge and, other things. But when you're actually implementing this stuff into your life, like find your people who are willing to go on that journey with you and support you and not drag you down. And, that takes different shapes for everybody. So, but I think it's one of the biggest factors of success, getting the feedback loops and tracking. I like to say is like all the tech that we've built is obviously important. I'm spending my whole life on it, but it's this like little slice of the pie and you got to, take those steps. I say that we can do almost everything for you, but we can't chew your food or move your limbs for you.
Right. Right.
And we can't hug you either. I would love to be able to hug
I know
every person who uses our technology, but
I know.
They'd be like, what is this guy doing?
Like, I just love you. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I feel you on that one. Oh, Jason, this has been like so incredible. What a great conversation around this. And I feel so safe talking about this with you too. Like, I don't feel like it was like such a, I don't know, people get weird when you start talking about like scanning your body and knowing your numbers and collecting the data. Like we talked about that fear. And this was just so, I don't know, just eye-opening and like safe. I don't know what other word to use. And
Thank you.
Just such a great place for people to really create change for the rest of their life and never have to look back,
And you will have, even with the feedback, there will be ups and downs, right? And the idea though is that you don't want it to be a year before you find out that you're on a down slope.
Nope.
Right? You want to get that feedback. Like ideally, I think weekly is a really good cadence for people, depending on your relationship with data and stuff like that. Again, I want to make it safe as like maybe it's monthly for some people. And it depends on the type of data. If you're looking at sleep, you can obviously look at that every day. In any case, I just want to encourage people, like it's kind of a, self-awareness tool. It's a menu of options. You can kind of play with it, see what works for you. But the idea is you don't want to go years before you get feedback on whether or not what you're doing is working.
Right. Bingo. Completely agree with you. Jason, how can people find you, follow you, get this? We'll put everything in the show notes too, but give us the down low.
Yeah. So Spren is the name of the company and brand, and that's SPREN, 5 letters. And you can go to spren.com or look for Spren in the App Store. You can find me. I'm not honestly super active on social media, but you can find me there. And, I'm happy to try to respond when possible. But in any case, we actually do respond to every message that we get through the business. So whether you're leaving a review or you're sending us an email or whatever, we're happy to communicate with you. And
awesome.
We love feedback. This is, again, we've built the business the same way we're building like the tools to support you on the health journey. Is we learn from the community just as much as hopefully we share with the community.
Yes.
And so love to hear from folks, and Spren is where you can find us.
I love it. I love it. You guys, will put everything in the show notes in case you're listening to this and you're driving, but go check it out. Why put it off? Why put off something that can just help you move forward? And we don't want to go backwards. So Jason, thank you again for coming on. I hope we can work together in the future. I hope we can keep this conversation going.
Yeah, that'd be exciting. I appreciate you, Melissa. And hopefully we shared some nuggets today. And thanks everyone for listening too.
We did. Everyone stay safe, stay healthy. Until next time. The Bomb Life podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The content shared here is not intended as medical, legal, or professional advice. Always consult with a qualified professional before making any health, fitness, financial, or legal decisions. The opinions shared on this podcast are personal experiences and insight. So if you need expert guidance, go find the right professional for you. Thanks for listening.
Since 2011, American Giant has been making everyday clothing with extraordinary effort. Not in far-off factories, but right here in the USA. We obsess over fabrics, fit, and details, because if you're going to wear it every day, it should feel great and last for years. From the cut of a hoodie to the finishing of a seam, nothing is overlooked. Our supply chain is tight-knit and local, which means less crisscrossing the country and more care in every step. The result is durable clothing, t-shirts, hoodies, sweatpants, and denim that become part of your life season after season. This isn't fast fashion, it's clothing made with purpose by people who care as much about how it's made as how it fits. Get 20% off your first order with code STAPLE20 at American-Giant.com. That's 20% off your first order at American-Giant.com with code STAPLE20.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.